Howdy, with this video, I want to go over the next essay. First, I'm going to go over the schedule real quickly. I'm doing this video on Wednesday, June 14th, when the peer review should be coming due tonight. But this first round, I generally do not review them or go over them. I just send them back to the original writers, and if you have questions, you're going to let me know. But hopefully you can kind of see, like, I think that passage is right. The peer reviewer says it's wrong or whatever. You'll just email me and say, hey, this person says this, but I think I'm right here, and then I'm happy to render a verdict there. But hopefully a lot of the peer review process is you thinking about your own essay as you're looking at somebody else's, right? Like, did I have a good title, or, do I have this component or that component? It's pretty normal, like, I just kind of wrote essay number one, and I need to work on the title a little bit. That's part of the kind of the main purpose of that peer review, is to kind of get that peer review process into a self-review process that's always kind of going to be in your head for the rest of your lives. We're trying to map brain patterns, right? In terms of essay writing. The final version of the essay will be due on Friday. Then after that, we're going to get into the career essay. Journals 4 through 6 will be due, and you got to see that same process. We kind of start with the journals, do any exercises. Then you're going to submit the first two paragraphs so I can make sure you're on the right track. Then you'll be writing the draft. Once we get those in, we'll do the peer reviews. But the next ones, I'll be going over the peer reviews, not line by line so much, but I'm going to make sure the peer reviewer is not misleading the original writer with the career essay peer reviews. And then that's why I have a little extra time there. It's going to take me a while to do that. Then we're going to turn in that final version. I'll revise and edit and turn in that final version, and then we'll go on to the next essay and do the same kind of thing. But kind of where you see here, journals 7 through 9 coming due before the final version of the career essay due. That's just to give me time to review the peer reviews there. But that's the schedule. Guess we'll go to the journals first, real quickly. You got 3 more journals to do once you get, for what? I forgot already. Next Monday, right? Yeah. The first one, I want you to read the parable of the talents from the Bible. Not trying to convert anybody, but it's a very interesting passage in terms of what do we do with these kind of natural abilities or these learned abilities that we develop throughout our lives. Particularly natural abilities, Jesus is kind of saying, hey, you're expected to go out and multiply those and do something with them, right? But in our culture, sometimes it can be kind of hard. If we have a musical ability, but we're probably not going to be able to make money off it, are we going to continue to pursue that talent and multiply it? So it can be kind of a difficult question. But that's kind of what I'm asking you. What are your talents, and how can you develop those, even if they're not marketable, so to speak, in terms of money? A lot of talents, like being able to talk to people, that's a fascinating talent. Are you going to be able to use that talent and multiply that talent and do good things with it, right? Excuse me. Sometimes you just multiply these talents, within your personal life, not necessarily your career. But it's an interesting thing to think about. What's separating you from the crowd here? The fifth one is kind of a therapy session. How's your semester going so far? Are you getting some confidence? Right, we've had to deal with computer issues, software issues. Particularly people who use MacBooks. They're beautiful computers. But then, you have a professor who says, I wanted a Microsoft Word. It's like, how do I do that? And that's a bit of a process, right? You have to learn D2L. Just have to learn how the class functions and what I'm looking for. So you have you kind of gotten through those barriers, and are they kind of in your control there? Some of us have active family lives that make it hard for us to do work. I got 8 people in my house right now, including two young grandchildren. I got to find time to get my work done, though, right? So a little bit of a barrier. I don't like to think of my family as a barrier, but it is kind of a barrier towards getting work done. What do you think about going to college? I'm kind of talking after 2 years. It's usually a good question for the dual enrollment students. But are you going to go on to a 4-year school? Are you doing 2 years and looking for a job? Have you applied to that college yet? It's always a good one. Have you talked to them? See what you're getting into. It's always a good, as we get into this career essay, it's also an education essay. kind of one question we're going to have is: have you gone to the transfer college and see what they're looking for from you? It can be kind of a bit of an adventure seeing what's going to transfer and what's not. Thinking about graduate school in the future. I know a lot of it like, I just started Comp 1, leave me alone, Mr. Fish. That's something interesting to think about, because what you're doing now is either going to make you marketable for admission to a nursing program or to graduate school or whatever, or if you're not doing anything special or not multiplying those talents, are you going to be able to get into the school you want to or the program you want to? And that's kind of the whole purpose of this career essay. So what are you going to look like in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road? Then the sixth one, I want you to go to that website, it's a government website, and research the possible career you're going to pursue with your college degree. If you're not quite sure yet, pick one. Pick the dream career and see if that's something you can actually achieve. Like a few students always want to say, I want to be a pharmacist. That's like 7-8 years of school, and pharmacists don't make a great amount of money for the amount of stress and the amount of debt they go into to get that degree. But if that's your dream and you really want to do it, maybe go for it. But if you're just doing it because they make good money, it might cost a lot to get to that point, right? So occupation growing. If you're going to go for your degree in English, watch out. What are some of the possible pitfalls of the career, where the stressors coming from? Just kind of research the career a little bit, see what you're getting into. Those are the journal entries. Again, 150 words on each journal. I'll put them all in one document. But for the essay itself, it's located under the content page under essays. I already got it pulled up. Oops, wrong one. Where'd it go? There it is. And for this one, it's going to be a 1,200 word essay. Generally, word count's not a problem with this. We'll see right here in a second. But these last three essays are going to be kind of those 1,200, 1,300 word essays. A little longer than this first one. But you're going to research the college degree you hope to earn and the job you hope to obtain with that college degree. Again, if you're not quite sure yet, pick one specific field to research as a possibility. It's fair to get to the end of this essay and go like, wait a minute. I'm not going to make as much money as I thought it was, or there's going to be too much stress for me, or however it's going to work. A lot of jobs have physical requirements, right? To be a nurse, you got to be on your feet and be, quite a bit and be able to work those 12-hour shifts. But pick one and try and be as specific as possible. Don't just say, I want to be a nurse. Do you want to be a neonatal nurse, geriatric nurse, emergency room nurse, flight nurse, travel nurse? They can make some money, but of course you got to leave your family behind. Same thing with welding, underwater welding, pipe welding. What are you going to do? The academic plan does not count as part of the word count, nor neither does your resume. You should employ MLA formatting, have at least 4 sources. I'm going to show you at least 3 of them here. You're going to have a short quote, a long quote, a summary, and a paraphrase. We'll look into MLA formatting maybe later next week. And you got to use all these fun punctuation, and that's going to be true for all three of these last essays. There's no set paragraph requirement, but sections 2 and 3 here should have more than one paragraph, so it's not going to be the 5-paragraph essay. We're going to start moving beyond that. All right, first section. I want you to introduce the essay, provide a general description of the specific field and your desire to work in it. Why do you want to be a nurse, right? You just like people bleeding and throwing up on you and pooping on you and stuff. It can be a brutal job sometimes, right? If you want to be an emergency room nurse, you got to deal with a lot of drunk people and drug addicts and who aren't quite in their right minds, and it's a tough job sometimes. And eventually you're going to give your thesis. And the whole idea of this essay is for you to say, hey, I've got a plan, and if I follow this plan, I'm going to be successful in this career. But again, a lot of this is about your education as much as it is your career, so which we'll see here in a second. So that's the first section. You also might tell us, again, why did you get in? Why do you want to be a welder? Why do you want to be a nurse? Why do you want to be an English teacher? I mean, you can ask anybody that question, right? So make sure you do that. Section 2, you're going to talk about the detailed requirements of the job. What kind of college degrees do you need? Once you get your college degree, what kind of additional credentials do you need? If you get your nursing degree from Northeast State, you still have to pass that NCLEX to become a nurse. If you don't pass that in NCLEX, you're not a nurse, right? You're just a very highly educated non-nurse entity. So you're going to look at those requirements, start seeing, what are the success rates for the school's nursing program, whichever one you're going to. Milligan College nursing programs, graduates only pass the NCLEX 30% of the time. That's a problem, right? That's a lot of education where only 30% of the students who graduate their nursing degree get to be a nurse. I doubt it's that low, but it's something you want to check out there. Again, that kind of goes under certifications, physical abilities, personality traits. I shouldn't be a particularly good nurse because I'm not particularly empathetic towards people. I don't like to see people in pain, but if my kids fall down and hurt their knees, I'm like, well, get up, let's go. Whereas my mom, their mother will give them a hug and let them cry a little bit. So what kind of personality traits are good for your particular field? You might talk to somebody in your field, your advisor. If you haven't done that yet, you probably should, right? This section will include a table with an academic plan. It's going to list all the college classes you've taken and the classes you still need to take, listed by semester in the order you're going to take them to complete your specific first college degree. So either you're probably getting your 2-year degree here at Northeast State first and then moving on, but maybe not all of you. Kind of depends. Sometimes summer people come here for summer and just pick up one class. But if you want to see if that 2-year degree really is just going to take you 2 years or is it going to take you 2.5 or 3 years, and basically, you can go to your advisor for that. You can go to, it went right out of my head. My Northeast, the program there. It'll come to me, I'm sorry. I'm not going to stop recording though. Degree Works and see the courses you need to take, but I want to see them in order you're actually going to take them. If possible, you might want to talk about the cost for your degree. Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect are awesome. It reduces student debt. But if you're going to go on and get your 4-year degree and then a graduate degree, how much is that going to cost you? Things like that. So a major section, this is going to be more than one paragraph, talking about all these different elements of your education and other requirements that you need for this job. Then section 3 is going to give information about the job, salary information. Are there any local job opportunities? If you if you want to get into like animation or something with Disney, you may not be able to do it here. Hopefully you can do it remotely, but if you can't, do you have to move to Orlando or Los Angeles? And if you do you really want to move to Los Angeles? Some people are like, yes. Other people are like, ooh. All right. Are there national, international job opportunities? And if so, would you be willing to pursue your career internationally? And that BLS site for Journal 6 talks about the future of the job. Hopefully it's growing. What kind of upper mobilities do you have? Welding's a great field to get into, but it's hard on the body. And after 20 years, when you're getting into your 40s and 50s, are you going to be able to climb that tower to do that welding job? Or are you going to want to be a supervisor where you can tell somebody else to go climb that tower and do that job, right? If you get tired of nursing after 4 or 5 years, what else can you do with that nursing degree? Can you get into education? Can you be a school nurse? Can you be a supervisor? Can you get into hospital administration? So you want to kind of consider things like that. One problem with an English degree is this is about as far as I can go, right? I'm tenured and fully promoted, so now what? With my career, I'm kind of as far as I can go. So that's something to think about. Also, make sure you think about the negative components of the job. Where's the stress coming from? What kind of retention or turnover rates are you experiencing? And any other information about the negative sides of the job. And every job has a negative side, right? The next section, section 4, you want to talk about your overall suitability for the job. What can you do to yourself to make yourself more marketable? Are you in any professional or student clubs right now? Professional organizations? Are the future volunteer or internship possibilities? Particularly students who just take the summer off while they're in college. What can you be doing to build that resume, make contacts, and make sure you have a job after you get your 2-year, 4-year, graduate degree? because there's just a lot of people graduating with the same exact degree at the exact same time. So what's going to set you apart from all those other people who are getting the same degree? And like I said, you should be able to get 1,200 words out of that without too many problems there. We're also going to put your resume as an appendix in with the essay, and then of course you're going to have your works citus page with the four or more sources. But you kind of see the sources. One's that government site, one's wherever you're getting that academic plan from, and then you need 2 more, which should not be hard to do. Especially so for some of these, you got to define actually what the career is. There's also a sample career essay. If you want to take a look at this, this was a student over at Sullivan Central when there was a Sullivan Central. And so he's coming from the point of view of a dual enrollment student. That's why he's a high school senior nearing graduation. And he's going to talk about being a mechanical engineer. And then he goes into what he needs to do. He wants to go to UT Knoxville. So again, he's not a Northeast state except in terms of dual enrollment. But he's going to explain what a mechanical engineer does, and then starts getting into the educational requirements. Then you're going to see that academic plan for BS in mechanical engineering from UTK. And actually, as he was writing this essay, he actually got accepted to Vanderbilt. Super smart student. And the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. So he's one of those guys, super smart and nice. But he's a great guy. He should have hopefully just graduated. But he's going to go semester by semester. You're going to notice there's no English classes listed because he was doing dual enrollment English in my courses there. And that kind of affects the academic plan as well. So he has to account for that. Then he gets into the costs, and you kind of see he's just following the assignments. He didn't have to put his resume in his paper. That's something I added for this particular class. But he gets into the job and how much money he's going to make. It's growing. And we'll go over this essay in a little more detail when we start talking about MLA formatting, probably later next week, once you start getting the first 2 paragraphs going. Job opportunities, making himself marketable. He wants to eventually go to NASA. It's not like they just pick anybody who has a college degree to work at NASA, right? So how can I get internships and things like this? Talks about the pros and cons, just kind of what I've just been talking about with the assignment. So it's a good essay. It's a pretty good writer and doing a good job with the technical parts. He wants to be a mechanical engineer, so he better be good with like the MLA technical components, right? A good looking essay, a good sample essay to work with. Again, the nice thing about these is everybody's is a little bit different because everybody's getting into a different field and wants to do different things with it. So, but that's kind of an introduction to the essay and the journal entries. I'll show you how to do that academic plan in a separate video and the resume as well. But I'm going to cut it off here. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.